Hey, Tony, you know what down it is?
Hell yeah, I do. It's 4th and Herbert.
San Diego Chargers are fortunate to have Lance Allworth.
On blue, ready?
Don Coryell.
Hello, history books.
Touchdown, San Diego. Woo!
What a freaking game. Mike on the mic here with Tony Tucker, Chargers fans and hosts of the Nuts and Bolts Show, bringing a special Browns versus Chargers reaction to y'all. I know we usually go live on Fridays to review and preview the game, but this game deserved its own episode. Holy cow, Tony.
This is one of those days where you can't wake up till Monday morning, right? Just so you can see all the glorious things that people are going to be saying about your team that you read about, you watch all the press conferences, you cheer for. I literally have no connection to anybody on this team. Never talked to any of these people, don't know them, but I invest emotionally in them doing well. Like they do well. My week is good. My Monday's like, it feels nice. You know, take the dog for a walk after the game, chest puffed out in that powder blue, walking my dog, just looking beautiful. Holy, that game was insane. Though. I think I sprained an ankle.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where even if we would have lost the game, I would have walked away saying, wow, like that was insane. I cannot believe what our team just did right now.
Yeah, and I want to keep everything on this show as positive as can be, right? Because there are some negative things that happened in yesterday's game. But for once, like the questionable calls, the bad reffing things landed on the side of the Chargers. Like if I'm being honest, like I complain, everybody knows who's checked in the show or talked to me anywhere in my radius, that Cowboys loss sticks in my afro craw like no other, and I cannot get rid of how bad that reffing was. That pass interference on Mike Williams, I mean, he had a handful of jersey, was yanking on the guy, which doesn't even really make sense because, Mike, why don't you use both hands to catch the ball? And I don't want to judge. You had a huge game yesterday.
Exactly.
8 catches, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. If you traded for him in fantasy, you're a genius.
Exactly. Yeah, that was you. And if you drafted him in fantasy, you're a genius. I'm starting, my opinion on him for fantasy is shifting now. I was like, and I'll admit that you guys are probably right about this. I was on the trade him before he gets hurt while he's going off like this, but now I'm kind of like, it's almost worth it to take the injury risk at this point. I mean, this is insane.
Yeah, well, we talked privately. Like, I really think they're going to start talking contract negotiations with him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's going to go the route of, hey, I'm going to bet on myself because I am 6'4" and ridiculously talented. And maybe I want to see what I can get out there. But if I'm Mike Williams and I'm looking around, who has money that can offer him a place to play where he's going to get to play with somebody like Justin Herbert? And I think as a wide receiver, at some point, you got to start thinking about that kind of stuff. Like Mike Evans, he gets it. He played 4 or 5 years with Fitzpatrick and Winston and stuff like that. And now he plays with Tom Brady. Guess where he's not? He's not taking off anytime soon. Godwin happily took the franchise tag to stick around for another year. Didn't fight it. I'm sure he wanted a real deal. But Mike Williams, if they can work out a deal and have him and Keenan and just continue to build and add depth to that roster behind these guys, look out, NFL.
I mean, they've got to be trending up to one of the best wide receiver duos in the league, and they always have been. It's just not quite been there consistently from we'll talk about the Ravens, Colts maybe at the end, but it hasn't necessarily been from Mike consistently, and that's been always the concern is Keenan's been out there by himself with guys like Jalen Guyton and guys like – and even Keenan gets banged up him damn self. But to see both of these guys playing, both these guys healthy, the defense doesn't know what to do. They have no idea what to do. They don't know who to cover because when they shift coverage to prevent Mike from making big plays, Keenan gets a big play. And when they shift coverage to keep Keenan down on third down, Mike just runs a slant and gets the first down. So, like, this offense is being orchestrated and put together so perfectly by Lombardi. And he was a concern because, we've seen that he hadn't had success as a pure OC in the past. Kind of really needed Sean Payton to be his guy. But he's brought everything from the Saints over here and more. And more. That's the exciting part.
Mike, last year, Tyron Johnson had like 650 yards and a half a dozen touchdowns, and he's out of the league, or he's on a practice squad. Like, this guy who isn't even playing anymore was like, he looked like an emerging player in the NFL, and now he can't even get a jersey on Sunday. So, like, this is what playing with Justin Herbert can do for you as just a player. And look at Mike Williams. You string together healthy games, the guy's going to be an all-pro receiver. Like, he's going to get a huge bag, right? Multiple bags, Brinks trucks, whatever, delivered to his home.
Yeah, and Fantasy Football Wish was saying you guys should be excited. I was very excited yesterday, and I woke up this morning feeling like absolute crap, and I still do. And I don't know if it's from the game. I hope it's from the game, and I hope it's not something else, but holy smokes. I am very excited. Very happy, and I was saying on last week's episode that if the Chargers beat the Browns and they're heading into Baltimore 4-1, like I think we can beat Baltimore too. But like, I have much higher, not expectations, but my hopes are a lot higher now for this team to be locked in as a playoff team, lock it in right now, and for two, compete in the playoffs. We saw what the Bills did to the Chiefs last night. That team is legit. But compete in the playoffs with the Chiefs, Browns, Ravens, and those guys that we're gonna have to see again in 4 months, 5 months.
Here's what I love the most about it, and this fourth down business. Like, you could see the meme behind me, like the joke, the fourth and Herbert here. I'm gonna have a freaking heart attack if Staley continues to do this to us all year long. But what I love about what Coach Staley is deciding to do is, you have to at some point realize we have the best player on the field. Like, as long as our offense is on the field, he's the best player on the field. The good news for the Chargers is when their defense is on the field, Derwin James is also the best player on the field. So they have the best player on the field on both sides of the football. Derwin can't have the same impact because he has to go chase it, which I think he had like 20 tackles yesterday. Like, no joke. Like, he was everywhere. But Herbert, you have to say, if we are in a place that it could go the wrong way, let's go the other. Let's bet on number 10. Let's put the ball in his hands. Hike. Here we go. And they got bailed out on some calls, just like they did it in the game against the Chiefs. I believe they went for it at midfield, and Guyton drew the pass interference call yesterday. He completed the one to Keenan, but there was holding earlier in the play. Didn't matter. Didn't need it. Threw some smoke to Keenan there. This coach is amazing. Like, even after the game, when I was ready to just go and I was going to go to SoFi and pack Vizcaino's bags myself. Like, just be like, hey, no, I'm here. I'm just, don't bother me. I'm just here. I'm going to get his duffel bag, get him a couple t-shirts, and get him on his way. Even after the game, Staley just had me being like, you know what? I still don't know what this means, but he's got a good kickoff leg. I'd love to see it. Feel free to kick some touchbacks in a game where the Browns are getting it back to the 30 every single time. Like, feel free to boot it through the back of the end zone if you got amazing kickoff legs. So
I don't see what your explanation could be to not bring kickers in this week, or the bye week at least. At the very minimum, for the bye week, bring kickers in. I don't know. The bye week's next week. We got the Ravens, and we're going to a bye week. Like, by the time we get on the other side, we better have a new kicker. Like, and this guy, I love the dude. Like, I see him, in interviews, or I see posts on the internet. He seems like a great dude, just like Michael Badgley was. And you can call the Chargers cursed, but we're going to find a damn kicker. We're going to figure it out one day. We're figuring out the end of game, like late in game, fumbling it away type stuff. So we got to figure out this kicking game, because that is a big Achilles heel for us. They show that even with the run defense, and we're going to talk about it in a second, being as bad as it is, Herbert can just go out and outscore a good run game pretty easily.
Yeah, and I think that
the Browns. Actually, let's just move on to that topic right now, because the Browns' run game was not. What am I going to say? The Browns' run game is not the average run game you're going to see each week, is what I'm saying. Their run game, like I said, and this is the run game that good, or the Chargers' run D that bad? I think it's a combo. Their run game is next worldly. Not many run games put up 42 points. like hardly any actually. So I have confidence that if another team's run game, if the Raiders' run game dominates in the next matchup and put up 21 points, Herbert's going to put up 40. So I'm not super concerned about the run defense, but how concerned are you? Because I think come playoff football, that could be a big problem.
I'm very concerned about the run defense, have been since week 1. I said on the Friday preview for Nuts and Bolts, this is my nightmare matchup, is the Cleveland Browns. I do not want to see them come playoff time. The Browns were my pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl because of this run game. I've compared this Browns team and the way that they win and run to the 90s Cowboys team. They can put a bunch of points on the board. The difference is, can Baker be that guy that hits the shots at the end of the game that they need to either extend a drive, like maybe they sell out to stop Emmett, or in this case, Chubb or Hunt or whatever. Can he then on 3rd and 6 hit OBJ on a slant? Can he be trusted to drop back and make the right read or whatever it is? And I think more times than not, we're seeing that the answer is no. But I believe at some point, Stefanski, who was scheming up some really great plays for the Browns, like really fun stuff. Like this guy, and we talk about it all the time, if you put another quarterback in that Browns system, they'd be freaking unstoppable, because that defense would then get to pin their ears back a little bit more, and like it would be just insane. And you really would have to have somebody like a Justin Herbert to even compete with a team like that.
Mm-hmm. And it really sucks for Baker, too, because I actually do like Baker, and I like the fire that he plays with from week to week. We didn't really see it this week. Like, it was the run game that kept them in the game, because when they needed to pass, they even went back to the run game. And there was 2 plays, and it's just speculation. I'm not on the field. There's 2 plays, 3rd and 10. They're pinned back in their own territory. So, yes, it makes sense. You don't want to turn the ball over. But it's only 3rd and 10. It's not 3rd and 20. And I saw them line up and spread with Kareem Hunt in the backfield, and I'm thinking they're probably either going to go to Kareem Hunt on a little route down the field, or they're going to go to OBJ and try and convert this 3rd and 10. And I see, Baker get the entire offense's attention. I assume he's audibling. It's all assumptions. And then they run the draw 2 different times. You just can't do it. It's just bad situational football, especially when the offense is so hot on the other side. And their defense was dropping like flies, especially the secondary, just injury after injury after injury. Well, they came in with a bunch of questionable players, and all of those guys seemed to retweak whatever injuries they had. So, like, that's the one thing for Baker, and I think he may find success, and he's going to be a good, like, game management quarterback down the line. But until he's able to step back and, one, get the timing down, because I think that's the problem between him and OBJ. Baker is not really a timing-style quarterback. OBJ is a timing route-running receiver. And that's why they're kind of having that mix mash. Jarvis Landry is just kind of a do-it-all kind of guy. And that's why he loves him so much more, because Jarvis Landry doesn't necessarily require Baker to pump fake and then wait for OBJ to run the comeback after the pump fake. Like all kinds of crazy routes that OBJ runs. And I think that might be the connection issue between them. But I think Baker can still be successful in this league. I just don't know if the Browns have the weapons for their pass game to do it. They need to go get Cortland Sutton and find a Des Bryant and then put them out there with Baker, and he'll do better.
He definitely could benefit from the bigger receiver. He seems to like Rashad Higgins and uses Jarvis Landry in the slot. But I mean, they just gave a bad deal to Austin Hooper. Like if your plan is to not use him and use him as a blocker, like that's a lot of money to spend on a blocking tight end or somebody you're going to use on like some like Patrick Mahomes-esque 2-point conversion in that game. Like that's a bad purchase. I'll say this about Baker. If he comes to the table and says, "Oh, I want crazy money," the Browns, I believe, will move on. Because if the Browns say, "Oh, we're going to spend money," well, we're going to trade for Aaron Rodgers, or we're going to trade for Deshaun Watson, or we're going to trade for a game changer. We are not giving you, top 5 quarterback money in the NFL, because you're going to hamstring what this team can do. Baker can have success, and if he can't have it here, I'm not sure of a place where he can have it, because this team is built perfectly for him. Because the play action fake is something that most quarterbacks can succeed in, and Stefanski's offense runs it so well. You have the best 2 running backs, and are you going to be able to re-sign Kareem Hunt and keep him around here, and Nick Chubb? Like, there's just so many questions going into that. But this, I really saw this game being 20-17. I thought our defense was going to play better than they did. Maybe not shut down the run, but just not be as horrible as they were. That Adderley missed tackle on the one play on Njoku after they score, it was just so deflating. I was like, why are you running into a guy who's 6'2", 225? Like, why are you putting a shoulder into him? Like, put your arms around him.
It was
Like, at
really
least
bad
slow
coverage,
down.
too. It was already bad coverage before the missed tackle, so at least make the tackle Adderley. And that was just one of the many knives that stuck in my heart being in the stands at that game. One of the many knives that poked at me and just hurt so bad because I didn't know how long the offense could just keep doing it for. But to see Herbert do it like that, man, absolutely insane. Yeah, I think that it's a little bit of both here. The Browns' run game is that good. It's the best in football. And we're going to see another really good run game next week, but they're a little more banged up than the Browns were, especially when it comes to the running backs. And the Chargers' run D is that bad. And we do need to fix it. We do need to figure it out. And getting K9 will help a little, but even with him out there, it wasn't great.
It wasn't great before his injury, and I forgot to look how long he's out for. I saw that I think he went to the IR, but I don't know if it was like long term, three weeks, whatever the deal is. But it would be nice to get him back.
I think it's weeks.
I think more so is Justin Jones. Like, there needs to be another big body in there.
Yeah,
it needs somebody else that needs to. They had the young kid in there who looks like giant baby. Forget what his name is. He's a rookie. I'm blanking on what his name is. But anyways, they had him in there, and he wasn't really having any luck. You gotta sell out more, and you gotta challenge it there. I was listening to the Staley press conference, and even the way he handled Asante Samuel Jr. Like, the question was asked, like, did he get benched or have an injury? And they just said, like, hey, we had to pull him out of the game and calm him down because he was like, he was just letting his emotions get the best of him. And it's really great when you get somebody back like Chris Harris Jr. out there, because you can make mature decisions as a coach like that and say, hey, young man, like, you really have been playing way better than most people thought you'd be playing this far into your career, but just come over here and settle. And then you can get back out there and you can do work.
Every time I hear Brandon Staley talk in front of the media, in front of the team, just at practice, if he's mic'd up or you just hear a little clip of someone else mic'd up around him, he says exactly what you want to hear from the head coach every time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. And with the whole Baker thing, my buddy was talking to me about it and how he thinks they're going to re-sign him. And I said, for Baker's sake, he may want to get franchise tagged for a year. Let Rodgers move. Let Russell Wilson move. Let Watson move. Give yourself one more year to prove yourself, and then go for the contract the next year. Because I don't think there's any way in hell the Browns pay him that big money over going after one of those other quarterbacks that are going to be available this offseason.
See, I feel the other way. I feel like if I'm Baker, I'm trying to get the money right now. I'm calling my agent and I'm saying, let me be secure. Let me be the guy right now.
Well, if he can get it during the season, then yeah. But I mean, like, if it gets to the offseason without a big contract, he's in a situation where they're just not going to do it. I just don't think they will. It just wouldn't be smart. It wouldn't be smart to pay the same money you'd pay for Aaron Rodgers for Baker.
I understand what you're saying. One, he's great for the city. And two, it's the Cleveland Browns. They haven't been good in a really long time. If they go to back-to-back playoffs and they potentially could still win this division. Like, this team was banged up yesterday. And if you really were being honest with me, who I thought should have or could have won the game, the Browns. The fact is that every time that we needed a big play, number 10 was out there making a big play. They were making big blocks. There's even a block on one where he steps up and Parham isn't doing something so smart. He's not trying to block the guy because he doesn't want to get a holding call or he's just running in front of him. He's running serpentine in front of a defender, being like, oh, I'll slow you down. It wasn't even really a block. It was just can't touch me. What? Can't touch. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? But when you go back and you look at the replay, it's like, oh, he's making sure there's no way that he can get called for a hold or a weird hands to the face penalty or something, which gives Herbert that extra second to rip the ball downfield and make a big gain. So without number 10, the Browns probably should have been able to put this game in their back pocket pretty easy.
And we're about to transition to just talking about Herbert here in a second, but I just want to address this comment and give us a chance to give the Browns their applause, man. That was a hell of a game. That was a hell of a matchup. If we see the Browns in the AFC Championship game, it's going to be a fireworks show once again. Do I think we will? I don't know. I think the Bills are really good, but we'll see down the line how injuries and everything can change everything, literally. But yeah, credit to the Browns and credit to the Browns fans. I'll say that too. I went to the game last week versus the Raiders. They weren't too rowdy, but they were a lot more rowdy than the Browns fans. The Browns fans would celebrate when their team would win, but would then look over to me or start talking to Chargers fans, like excited about what Herbert's going to do and how he's going to respond. And it was back and forth the entire game. Like, we would hit a big strike, then Njoku went. We would hit a big strike, then Nick Chubb would go. And it's like just back and forth. And it was a super fun environment with the Browns fans. And it was really close to 50-50, which is still sad. You don't want 50-50 at a home game. But it was really close to 50-50. So it was a really fun environment. And the Browns fans on the way out were pretty respectful. And we were high-fiving each other and just enjoying the sport of football. And what a great game it was. So shout out to the Browns and shout out to the Browns fans. Y'all do deserve a little bit of credit. A lot of credit, actually.
Two things real quick. First one, it's a step in the right direction. 60-40 for the Raiders, now 50-50. Next week, it's, next home game is 60-40 Bolts fans. And I do believe that it'll continue to progress in that way because it's going to become a hot ticket to come and see Justin Herbert play football. Like, it will head in that direction.
Ron Brown was there to see Justin Herbert, I'm sure.
He was. He went under the disguise as being from Akron. The other thing is, this could easily, if things continue to head in this direction, be a 2-7 matchup. I could see a scenario in which the Chargers could hang on and win the division at 12-5, 13-4 if things really went well, and the Browns are the 7th seed. Yeah, the Ravens win the division. This could be a 2-7 matchup. I could easily see that.
Yep, 100%. 100%. We could see it happen. And the Chargers are in the driver's seat now, like officially. We're 3 games ahead of the Chiefs, and we're seeing the cracks in the ship that we've been pointing out about the Broncos and the Raiders. So we'll see how the season goes. The Chargers also have a light schedule from here on out. This was the tough part of our schedule, ladies and gents.
I think after the bye week, it going to play the Ravens in Baltimore next weekend. I'm really hoping the message is, hey, gentlemen, this is a business trip. We're going to get this one, and then we're going to take a little break. We're going to take a little much-needed R&R. Let's go into this bye on a positive note, 5-1, command, and just let everybody talk about how we have that dude, and we are a bunch of those dudes, and we're going to make some noise in the NFL this year.
Oh, 100%. Imagine the confidence of a team going in and looking at the schedule of a bunch of like 500 teams or less coming up on the schedule at 5-1 after just beating the Chiefs, Raiders, Browns, Ravens consecutively, and 2 of those games on the road. That would be holy crap. I think the confidence should be high regardless of the outcome against the Ravens. But imagine how high it should be. Like, the Chargers should be looking at the Lombardi Trophy if that's the case in that bye week. That should be what's preached.
Yeah, and that's not a euphemism for Joe's thing either. That's like an actual real silver trophy. Yeah, that was a childish joke.
He is a grandson.
But I needed to make that joke. Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. I don't think that this coach or this coaching staff looks at it like that. They don't look ahead at the schedule and say, "Oh, we're getting to the easy part." Yeah. Like, I really believe it's sort of that old school, the platitude, just one game at a time. We want to go 1-0 this week, that sort of stuff. As fans, we look ahead at the schedule and go, "Oh shit, who wants a piece of cake this week? And in week 10, here's a piece of cake." Like, we shovel out the cake. But I think this coaching staff shows up and goes, "Oh, no, this is a good team. We respect them. I'm going to find nice things." It's the same thing Belichick said for 20 years. He always would say nice things. "Oh, well, Cincinnati's got a real good team. Coach, they're 0 in their last 18 games. Yeah, but like they show some real fight." It didn't matter. He could be playing the 0-16 Lions, and Belichick would be like, "This is a good football team we're playing." And as fans, we're like, "This team is trash. This is garbage."
Like that Orlovsky kid, he's got something.
Yeah, get me a twisty tie, coach. I'll tie him up and take him out for you because it's garbage.
Oh, anyways, Phil K, we're about to talk about that. It's a good transition. Thank you. Phil K, you're the best viewer for transitioning in the Warzone. Where does Herbert rank among the best in the NFL right now? And we can even talk about where he's trending. I think, holy crap. Like, if you went back in time and told me at the draft day, because I was like iffy if we even should draft a quarterback that high with all the questions about Tua. Herbert had some questions too back then. And I don't think very many people called Herbert being good, let alone this good. Like, you can say that you called him being good or being better than everyone else was saying, but don't sit here and tell me you thought he's going to be a top 5 potential quarterback in his second year, 20th game in the NFL. What are you thinking, Tony? Where does he rank right now? I think he's solidified his top 10 spot. How close is he to top 5 for you?
Well, Mike, I have a video that proves me saying last year that Justin Herbert was going to be the next John Elway. So we'll get that up on Nuts and Bolts. I'd be more than happy to talk about how I bragged about this young man last year.
Intro to the next episode.
Yeah, it's a nice little 50-second clip of me being exactly right. Here's the way I look at it. Would I rather have Tom Brady for one Super Bowl game? Yeah, sure. For one Super Bowl game, I would rather have the greatest big game quarterback of all time, right? I wouldn't trade for Tom Brady because Tom Brady's shelf life is shorter than that of an avocado in the sun. Like, it's not got a lot left before that thing is done. Where I could see Herbert, who is a guy who can play from the pocket and is a little more mobile and is 6'6" and is super cerebral, having a Tom Brady-esque 20-year run of just really great football. Makes smart moves. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. He doesn't buy in any of this stuff. He's not on social media. He's not doing a bunch of commercials or ads. He doesn't hot dog it. He's not doing all those other things. Now you could say, oh, well, look at all these other young quarterbacks. Would you trade him for Josh Allen? No, I wouldn't. I like him better than Josh Allen, right? I think Josh is great, but I wouldn't trade him for Josh Allen. I wouldn't trade him for Kyler Murray. I think there's a shelf life. When those legs go out, it makes him a little bit more of a pocket passer, and the guy's 5'9", and we've not seen a lot of success when that sorts of happen. Lamar Jackson can't throw as good as Justin Herbert, right? Is an amazing player. Another shelf life on that. Would you rather have Lamar Jackson for a 2 to 3 year window maybe before that Michael Vick-esque wheels? No, I would not want to do that. Then you go to somebody like Patrick Mahomes. Well, the guy's already won an MVP and he's won a Super Bowl and whatever. He also has some weird sort of he like views himself from outside and is like, oh, well, I need to make my ESPN highlight this week so that they can show it to me. They have the Bills at home and they're running like Harlem Globetrotter plays at the goal line, like having Kelsey run up under center and point at a linebacker, and then Tyreek Hill come in, and then he comes in. I'm just like,
why
you realize
you don't do that when you're losing.
You don't do it when you're losing, but you also don't do that kind of stuff against a team like the Bills that are going to be there at the end of the year. They're whooping teams. They're on the verge of slapping you in front of your home crowd, and you're out there running plays like like you're trying to. Football is entertainment, but the entertainment comes from winning. And now people are seeing that Patrick Mahomes has a little bit too much of the front runner showboating style play. Even that interception, that first one that Asante Samuel got in Kansas City, throwing no-look passes to a rookie tight end, and then the rookie on the sideline is like, Coach, I didn't even know the ball was coming my way. It's like, get it. It's fun. We love it. We love to see it. I'm saying it now, and you guys will be like, oh, this guy's just a homer and a fan. I'll take Herbert over Mahomes. There's not a quarterback in the league that I want over Justin Herbert.
Also, when he's seeing eye to eye with Mahomes at this point, maybe looking down on him a little bit, especially this year. Also, when you look at Mahomes' pay-cutted contract, he's a $40 million cap hit right now. Herbert's on his rookie deal. I would not trade in this moment right now. I would not trade Herbert for anything. I wouldn't trade him for anything. Nothing. Not a single player, combination of picks. Send me 10 first-round picks. I would decline it.
Yeah.
I would decline it.
You wait your whole career as a GM or a coach or whatever to get somebody like Justin Herbert who is just that dedicated to football. Like, really look at it. Like, This guy's playing in Los Angeles. He could be getting cameos on TV. He could be getting commercial deals. He could be getting huge sponsorships. And instead, he shows up, rocks the little headband with the hair tied back all nice and is like, I'm just here to play football, and has nothing but nice things to say. And as soon as they try to tell him how great he is, he talks about his teammates. He's so humble. He's so ready to just get on the field and prove it. And I think that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Now, people might go, oh, well, he was the 6th overall pick of the draft. Where's his chip? His chip is that he was overlooked. If you think back on it as a sophomore, they're like, this kid is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And then all of a sudden he's got less talent in Oregon and playing against teams with more talent, and he's losing games. And all of a sudden his stock starts to fall behind people. Quarterbacks were drafted ahead of him. You can still have a little bit of hey, I want people to know that I was that guy. I should have gone number 1 no matter what. And in hindsight, you look back, I watched Michigan football when I was a kid. Nobody thought Tom Brady should have been the first pick of that draft. There's not a person in the world would have gone, oh yeah, pick Tom Brady. He couldn't even beat out Drew Henson.
Yeah,
but he had it up here.
Exactly. In hindsight, Herbert would go number 1 overall without even a thought. He would go number 1 overall, and then they would just end the draft and just be like, all right, draft's over. We don't need to draft any other players this year. Yeah, and also another thing that really got me hyped, right? And this is something that the Chargers have dealt with in the past, and a lot of quarterbacks don't do this kind of stuff. You wouldn't see Daniel Dimes doing anything like this. You wouldn't see any other high-drafted quarterbacks that have been drafted in the last couple of years doing anything like this. After that missed extra point, there's just under 3 minutes left in the game. Just missed the extra point. It's 42-41. The run game on the Brown side has been absolutely insane all game long. All they need is 2 first rounds, 3 first downs to damn near make it impossible to win that game. And my immediate thing after the missed extra point was to snap my head, look at the sideline, and see what the reaction to it was. Everyone was sad. Everyone was upset. I saw players slamming stuff. I saw players going to the bench and just sitting down. And usually, and I would even say Mahomes probably would do this, he would also go and sit down. He would also be pissed off. You know what number 10 was doing? He walked around and talked to every single player on the sideline and said, we're going to win this game still. I don't know what he said, but it seemed like he was clapping to people. He was picking people off the bench. And I was like, dude, that is so awesome. And sure enough, they got another shot and they won it.
When you see him, he throws a big touchdown pass. He runs down, he jumps up, little shoulder bump with the teammate, back on the sideline, tablet in hand. What could I have done better? What could you have done? You just threw a 79-yard touchdown. But he's like, oh, yeah, what could I have gotten better? He's almost like, what if that wasn't there? Did I know if my second read was open? Did I know if my third, whatever it is, he's focused, he's in the game. The haircut theory. I've been telling Mike that since the preseason.
That's what TDs was saying. And TDs was saying that Justin Herbert and Josh Allen both over Mahomes, and he said that he's got Herbert at 1. So, I mean, already some people in the sports world are starting to even have the thoughts of Herbert being the best quarterback in football. Kevin's in here. Kevin, sorry for your Dolphins this week, but we appreciate the love for the Chargers. I'll just say this, and I say it every weekend, honestly. Tua would never, but we'll move on. Herbert is top 7 in the NFL right now, and he's trending towards top 3. He's trending towards looking eye to eye with Mahomes, Allen, and them.
I think a few things. I think one, every time I talk about sports, one thing that I put a lot of stock in is sustainability, right? And is it repeatable and stuff like that. And with him, it seems to be repeatable. Last year, they were banged up, did not have weapons, and guys like Tyron Johnson were making plays for this team, right? So he's already shown that he can do it with whoever it is, whether it was Hunter Henry or Jared Cook, and Parham Jr. seems to be stepping up now. So, this does seem sustainable. It seems a repeatable process of where it is. Then the next step is, what does this look like in a playoff game? Does he have the same resolve, the same composure that he'll have if they're in a playoff game and the Browns are in here doing this? Will he, how does he feel in that moment? Because that's what you want to know. You want to know if we already seeing in primetime he's winning. It took Kirk Cousins a decade to get a primetime win. And this guy is just like,
Yeah.
I don't care. You can put me on Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night, whatever it is. Throw me in a Wednesday game, because of a pandemic. What he would have done, he doesn't matter. He shows up, and as soon as they flip the coin, kick the ball off, he's ready to go stuff it down your throat. I love this kid, and it's a great time. It's a great time to be a Chargers fan.
Okay, is asking Dak or Justin Herbert. I think in this game, and especially if he does it more this season, Justin Herbert showed that he can win any style of game. If we need to go and have a defensive struggle, and he just needs to be consistent and not throw interceptions, just focus on that defensive battle like we saw in Washington, and just do enough to win the game, execute enough to win the game, he can do that. He's shown that he can go on tough road games, tough road trips to Kansas City and beat teams like that in their own house. And now he just showed that he can get into an absolute, once every 10 years kind of shootout with the Cleveland Browns this week. We've seen Dak in similar situations in shootouts, and usually the Cowboys have lost. So I'm taking Herbert.
It's good. I mean, when Dak's balling, the Cowboys are balling, and maybe that's a potential Super Bowl we'll get to see someday. Is Chargers Cowboys? That would be really fun. This is the part to me that is most worrisome, is that you usually start to figure things out, right? Weeks 4 or 5, they're not playing preseason. The Chargers didn't play any preseason games. So that slow start to me was somewhat expected. I know that you and I talked about it on those early nuts and bolts shows. When you're not getting any reps with your first team, Herbert has a bit of a slow start. People are like sophomore slump. No panic here whatsoever, right? Anybody who talked to me in fantasy, I said, you all need to trade for Justin Herbert immediately after the slow start in the year. It is concerning that the defense still looks that bad against the run, that they are tackling that poorly, right? And I get it. It's the run game for Cleveland is something that is different. We've not seen it. And they played better against the Raiders team. But to get gashed for 200 yards a few times already against two of the better running teams, Cowboys and Browns, it's not a good. I don't love this matchup. I would not like to see the Browns in the first round of the playoffs because of the way that they run the football. And I think that defense will be healthier. I think Greedy will be out there, and Denzel Ward won't be getting injured. And, Troy Hill starts to fit in the offense better. And maybe the Jadeveon Clowney is on the opposite side. I would not want to see that run game and that defense in a playoff game. Let's avoid him. Let the Chiefs knock him out. Let Patrick Mahomes showboat his way to another victory.
Yes, sir. I'm for it. And we can move on to our next topic here. And the Chargers obviously are proving that they can beat any team any day of the week, especially on Sunday afternoons. But should the Chargers move up this Super Bowl window? I was looking at it for 2022, 2023, 2024. That's the rest of Herbert's rookie contract. That should have been our Super Bowl window. Should we move that up to this year? Should we be aggressive at the trade deadline and replace Ibushi, who went down with the torn ACL? Should we look into adding linebackers or D tackles to help out with the run-stop game? Should we add depth to the secondary because we know how easily you can lose a bunch of corners in one game? What should the Chargers be doing here at the trade deadline, and how should they be acting? Should they be acting like a team that is in win-now mode?
I think Telesco is a very smart GM, right? I think he's made a lot of good selections, and on top of that, Herbert fell into his lap. So this is what I would, if you're telling me that the Dolphins are just going to blow things up, they're just going to get rid of Flores and all of a sudden Xavier Howard is available, because Xavier Howard yesterday was getting smoked by the Bucs.
Yeah.
If they're just hey, we're out on him, and we could bring him over there to team him up with Asante Samuel and Chris Harris and Michael Davis, people.
Yes.
Really good at football. Really good.
They tested him. He had a moment where he was one-on-one with OBJ and he shut him down the field.
He stayed with him. And he had the help underneath. I really liked it, but he didn't buckle in the knees because he's like, oh, this is the guy from the Head and Shoulders commercial. He's like, get out of here, homie. You don't want none of this, especially not while we're here in what is it again? Heritage Month, Latino Heritage Month. Michael David.
Indigenous People Heritage Day, I think, is today.
Yeah,
they were celebrating at the stadium, and then I think it is Heritage Month. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So Michael David.
That's why they're doing the Los Chargers stuff.
Yeah, repping Mexico out there, stomping out OBJ. Let me stay focused. If you tell me that there are a few other teams that are going to be giving up on some run stuffers, they're like, hey, we don't really want these guys. Yeah, I think they should look to be active because at some point you're going to need those kind of guys. People don't usually give up on pass rushers. That's why I've always said that Ngakoue, is he as good as we think he is, or did he just put up nice numbers because he was on a good, he was in a good defense there?
Yeah.
You play next to Calais Campbell, you can put some numbers up. I don't know if you know this, but Calais Campbell is larger than your doorway. Like go look at your doorway, and Calais Campbell would have to go in sideways and duck to get into your house. So you can put up nice numbers when Jalen Ramsey is locking up whoever, and that defense was pretty stacked. If there's a team that's going to disassemble, yeah, let's pick some defensive pieces off there. On the offensive side, I only think that you are adding a guard or a tackle or somebody that you can get in there. I would also say, like, if Balaga's not shut down for the season, he shouldn't even play until like week 16 or 17 and just like try to get back in football shape. And hey, if we're going to make the playoffs, Balaga, you don't even put on pads. As a matter of fact, like you don't even get to pick up your kids, like, or anything until week 15 or 16. And you play for a 5-week window and try and make a run to the Super Bowl there. So I don't know. Do you have in mind anybody that you would hope that would become available or target or anything like that?
No one specific. I mean, I found this list of guys that are on contract years. That's probably who you want to target. Guys that are on bad teams on contract years. Malcolm Brown, defensive tackle for the Jaguars, is solid. Maybe he's a guy we could look at as being a possible guy we can bring in to help in with the run stuff. We just need guys that can eat up blockers. And Linval Joseph's pretty solid at it, but it's not resulting to success. Guys that can eat up blockers down low that demand a center and a guard, so the linebackers have better opportunities to not get blocked and can get there. Kaiser White has pretty good instincts, but Tranquil against the run isn't so great. He's solid. I'm not going to say he's awful. And K9 has just been off against the run in his entire career so far. So, like, I think that it would help them out to see that open up. And, it kind of just turns into an Oklahoma drill with the opposing running back for our linebackers. It's just so easy to see. If we had a D tackle that was taking that double blockage, he's demanding a double team. As far as the O-line, I think I agree with you. I think I'm okay with us rocking with who we have. The entire O-line from last year is the backup O-line. So these guys have played and started in the NFL before. They're not new guys. And just having Lindsley out there at center elevates everyone on the O-line. I am a little concerned. I mean, we have two backups on the right side now at guard and tackle, and we have a rookie on the other side. Slater handled this game. Oh, my gosh. Slater is also a revelation, who we haven't really talked about as much as we should. But we were expected to see, 4 or 5 sacks today, and the O-line held up. They gave a few sacks, but for the most part, Herbert had plenty of time. The run game moved when we needed it to. It's not our go-to first thing. So just to get 50 yards, 75 yards a game, we're happy with that. And I saw multiple blocks where our backup guard was blocking Myles Garrett, or our rookie left tackle on the blind side was blocking Myles Garrett and having no problem. So the O-line, I don't think maybe to be too aggressive. I would like to see maybe a run stuffer. And I'll say this. Do we want to take this offense to the next level? Look at Brandon Cooks. Look at OBJ. Even like a Russell Gage maybe. Like, do we want to take the passing game to the next level when it comes to receivers? Not that I don't like Jalen Guyton. Jalen Guyton made a great play, and he ran a 175-pound man, ran over like 5 people in one play. But when we're talking about it, depth-wise, I have an understanding that these guys could be very valuable if we get them at the deadline come playoff time.
Yeah, see, I don't know. The receiver situation is weird for me because, again, I default to Herbert as to where I don't really care who the receivers are, right? Like, if you can, if you can run routes, so that to me is not as much of an issue. Guyton is going to be somebody I talk about on Friday's show. I'm gonna lose my mind with that kid. Like, he's driving me insane. But we'll get past that. We're good. Obviously, if you can make your team better and it's not going to cost you that much, I'm not trying to trade anything earlier than like a 4th or 5th round pick.
100%, yeah.
But if
it has to be guys either in their last year or their second last year of their deal, and the team is not going to re-sign them. So you're going to see them go for basically nothing just because they don't want the cap hit.
Yeah, and I think if there's some veterans out there,
we're in an amazing cap situation. Yeah,
I'll tell you right now, I'm not opposed to signing a Todd Gurley.
Well, yeah, that too. We could bring that
who's
up.
A free agent out there who hasn't played, and they say, "Hey, come on our practice squad and kind of get up to speed and learn the offense, and maybe weeks 13, 14, we have you out there backing up Austin Eckler."
You know where Gurley's going to sign, Tony? This week, I think he's going to sign Kansas City.
I could see that. Well, have fun being in third place. I think he lives in LA. Like, why wouldn't he just come be on this team here and live in LA and live in this city? But I don't even think he's looking to be like a featured back. If he did decide to play, who knows? I don't know Todd Gurley, but I'm just saying I think that there could be a veteran opportunity in that. But the trade deadline in the NFL is weird.
It is. It's not as crazy as the NBA. It doesn't usually happen where you see a bunch of big deals at the trade deadline. I think this year's going to be a little interesting because there's so many great teams. There's like 5 teams that legitimately could be Super Bowl contenders. And those guys are almost like going to be jousting for, we don't want you guys to get the player, so give him to us. That's what I thought was going to happen when Gilmore hit the free agency. I thought Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, all of them are going to be trying to grab him because they don't want any of the other contenders to get him more than anything, and also to help themselves out. But it's getting to that point where teams are going to start trading for players to keep them away from each other, like the Nets. Lakers.
Yeah, Gilmore. He might need to get out there and catch some passes from Sam Darnold after that game yesterday.
Oh man.
Gracious,
yeah,
that was like nightmare.
they need CMC back. I think they're going to be okay when CMC comes back. I don't know if they're going to make playoffs, but I've gone from having a 5-win projection on that team to competing for a wild card as what I'm thinking now.
Yeah, I didn't see I said the defense would be good. I didn't think it would be this good. And then you're adding Gilmore, you're adding CJ Henderson and stuff like that. I think I had them at 9-8 or 10-7.
That's probably where they'll end up, right around there.
Yeah, they're you have CMC, and then you have a quarterback that I think is good, not great. And we saw that. we definitely saw that. Anyways, this is Chargers football. We need to talk about sanity.
I know. We can wrap it up at that, I think, because we talked for 45 minutes. That was gonna be a 20-minute conversation. But we got it all off our chest. We had a lot to say. We're very excited about where this Chargers team is going and how the season is going so far. Let's go get Baltimore next week. We're going to preview that game, and it's probably going to be like a straight preview next week, so we don't need to review this game in the next episode. So we'll be here Friday again.
Nope. Back on Friday for the preview. Nuts and bolts. Ravens coming to town. We get to see tonight. It was great when they asked Herbert too. And they said, "Hey, do you watch the game?" Whatever. He said, "Yeah, you watch it, but you get to see different types of tape. You're going to get to see a different the ones than what we get to see in the game." So I hope it's a good game. I want them to go in there to Baltimore and smoke a healthy Ravens team. Oh, would I be so happy for them?
That'll be so good.
We'll save all that joy.
We will. We'll save all that energy for that game where it needs to go. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, the Nuts and Bolts' home is the Warzone Sports Network. And we would appreciate you guys if you subscribe, turn on notifications. Even if you're a Browns fan or a fan of any team watching this, we cover everything NFL. This is just one of 15 or so shows that come up each week. And I was just so proud of myself on this episode, Tony. You know why?
Why? What's that?
When we were about to go live, I just mentally promised myself I wouldn't talk about the Raiders at all. And I made it through the entire episode until the last moment to talk about how the Raiders lost to the Chicago Bears this week. How embarrassing. How embarrassing is it?
We talk. Okay, the Chargers defense suck, okay?
Justin Herbert. Am I worried about Justin Herbert? No, because Justin Herbert is still in his sophomore slump. Josh Jacobs, 120, 3 touchdowns.
Derek Carr, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns.
I thought you were going to say Vince Cayeno was going to win the game for you guys.
Daniel Carlson has hit his last 6 from 50 plus. This from 52 is no good.
Okay. Raiders, 35. Chargers, 28.
It was 36-27 Raiders.
San Diego Chargers are fortunate to have Lance Allworth.
Don Coryell.